Alrighty. Happy to hump day. It is the middle of the week. Wednesday. What do we have today? We have some data coming out in a few minutes here. Stock markets are on the firm side. When the Dow is up 275 or 300 points, I consider that to be firm nowadays. Always thought it was that way, but now I can say it out loud and not sound condescending. I don't know. End result is I think that these talking heads, and I complain about it pretty much most of the time, they just don't appreciate what it's like for a market to go down 20 or 30%. That's a crash. Or hit circuit breakers is a crash. You know, it's a sell-off, or three-quarters of the way to the circuit breakers. But when we're not even a whisper, and it's only down 277 points on the Dow, that's just a very firm market this morning, or an up market, pretty much. It's not a rally, it's just a firm market. And we're seeing that across the planet. We said it yesterday, we expect the CPI to come out, less than last month. But the 12-year, was it the 3-month average could be as high as 10 and change. And the PPI tomorrow is going to look a little bit worse. So it looks like they've released the numbers to the what do you call those? The numbers have been released. The Dow is now down 11. Let's see what the CPI number looks like. 8.3. They were expecting 8.1. Hotter than expected. But it is a top. I was right. Yesterday, it beat the 8.5. Anticipations were 8.1. Came out 8.3. I figured they'd be a little bit firmer. I just figured I thought maybe 8.2 or 8.3, something like that. But yes, it is. It's a top from last month. Now, that's why we labeled it as inflation, a short-term top. So here it is right there. April core up 6, estimated up 0.2, so it was up 0.6, and that sounds right to me. I expect it to be hot under this theme, but I don't expect it to be. Let's see, April core CPI over year is 6.2 versus 6 point estimated. Yeah, we will be up in the 10s. Before you know it, or at least the 9s or something like that in the next. And I expect next month to act the same way this one is. The estimates are going to be lower. It's just a mathematical structure. That's all it is. The yield on the 10-year bond is at 2.96. It's down about 3 ticks, 3.4 bips if you want to call it that. It brings it down from 3%. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average in that firm look before the webinar starts is now only up a point. Now it's down 2 points. So they gave up all that firmness. And that's where we really are. Do we see anybody asking a question about anything? Doc's just giving an analysis of the marketplace. All right, and tomorrow, PPI, that estimate is not going to look as good. But we'll see. See how it all plays out. But welcome to the world of inflation. This is where we're at. And we do believe that this inflation can be conquered. And I'm not a big Paul Volcker fan, I thought Volcker was kind of harsh on it. I thought that he used a sledgehammer. But that's all right. They were the times. And that's quite all right. I don't expect that to work now. Just good government policy, less spending, more towards a budget that gets close to being balanced for just a year. Just now. They don't have to balance all $30 trillion. Just balance this year's budget. Get it closer to almost zero. That would be fine. Instead of just overspending, and overspending. So the market's now Dow Jones Industrial Average up 24. Yeah, and I heard yesterday was really fascinating. Someone was actually keeping a count how many times it went plus or minus for the day yesterday. And it was 141 times. So the Dow was like plus, then minus, then plus, then minus. It went 141 times to the minus and then back to the plus again. So that was pretty entertaining. They actually counted how many times it went minus. I think it was 136. and how many times it went plus was 141. So, all right, we start off. What do we do? We start off. Oh, you know what I need to do is I need to shrink that down like that. Move that over like so. Let's shrink this down like so. And move that over. Put that there. Move that there. And slide that in like so. There we are. And you can see here the Swiss. What I found interesting is at one point, see the tail on the Swiss here on the Chicago quant side? What I found really fascinating is when the market thought that inflation was diminishing, it was one of the biggest days of down in 5 months. Let's just take a look and see. Yeah, since March 30th, it was the biggest down day we had with the Swiss down against the dollar. And when I was watching that, I thought to myself, boy, is that going to be a good conversation today? Trying to understand what I'm always trying to understand, what the fundamental is on some level or another. I mean, that is my hunger, my desire is to understand what the fundamental is. We don't always get it, of course, but it's kind of cool to see it actually try to play itself out. So in this case here, we got the inflation rate looked like it was going to, give that message that things are cooling off a little bit. That short-term top that I talked about yesterday, or I made the title of. I think it was inflation short-term top, and here it is. It's a few ticks below, but it doesn't mean a lot over the next 12 months. So. And that's what I thought was very interesting. Look at this thing go right here. Let's widen that now. Look at the way that's acting. It's trying to get, look at that big tail, that hangman for those candlestick people. And, is this thing even going to turn plus for the day? Well, you can see we've been in the weekly buy for a while here. And, since back here in the beginning of April. So, we'll see if they, it stays up. You can see we've been in the daily buy for 5 weeks now. It just finds ways to be in there all the time. Over on J4X, right there, same situation, just a sea of green. A sea of green, just refuses to let go. And you can see our two forms of stochastics battling against each other. One's a slow stochastic from one indicator, the other one's a fast stochastic. That's the green line from a second indicator overlaid on each other, and then we have the volume down at the bottom. And so you can see there, wow, look at this. We've got a green dot now even on Chicago Quant. Look at that. It's just pushing up. It's trying to get to the plus side. It really is. It's trying to. This is obviously the central banks around the world must have carte blanche to the U.S. Fed. The Fed must say, okay, look, with this inflation, you can step out of your range, to try to adjust the pain. And so this is what we've been anticipating, is because, Giannis was saying yesterday, the economy in Switzerland, is not what they want it to be. And I just don't see this as the reason why they're just crushing all these different currency pairs because of poor industrial policies. If they were doing that, they'd be doing it for decades now. No, this is inflation. This is that game that the Federal Reserve plays with all the other central banks across the planet. They have to stay in a certain range when the inflation is at a certain spot. And obviously the game was going to be, you stay there, we're going to keep inflation tight. Well, under Mr. Trump, it was at 1.5%. Now under Mr. Biden, it's basically cruising in the 8.5 area. So that definitely freaks things out and messes with Mrs. Yellen, who is, I don't think she even knows we have inflation. I think she's still holding to the idea that whatever you see here is just transitory. Are they funny people or what? All right, so that's the action we see there. I wonder what they did with the gold. Let's just take a quick peek at the gold real quick. Gold was lifting up really nice this morning, and they had it up as high as, that's oil, I'm sorry. There's gold. Yes, they had gold up. Had a feeling they may have knocked it down. They had gold up to 1853 and a half. Okay, right now it's trading at 1837.3. So gold was $16 higher. Yeah, $16 higher. So now that inflation looks bad, they're taking gold down. I have to clap on that one. Oh my god. It was a Wilco. Hey Janos, guess who was? I was talking with Wilco this morning. Wilco is a former presenter to Dukascopy. He's very active. He's been involved in the blockchain and the cryptos for a long while. He contacted me this morning, and we were talking for a little while. Hey, Robin, and and he was just saying, wow, your work has been holding up really, really well. Blah blah blah. So forth and so on. I don't need to break my elbow, patting my back. He was just saying that, when is this going to stop? When can I jump in? And I was like, when it turns. I can't make it turn. I think I actually said something about that. Me and another fellow tried to paint the tape one time in a legal way to see if we could make my math, control our math, control it in that direction. And it didn't work. That was back in 1989 or 91, something like that. I tried to do that. It didn't work. He was a specialist, a stock specialist. And so he controlled where they settled the price of the stock, and we tried to paint the tape across the planet to see if we could actually control something. Nada. My math does what it wants to do when it's going to do it, and nobody can have any control over it. That's what it really comes down to in the end. It is Laplace's demon. That's what it really is in the end. Laplace's demon. All right. From there, where do we go? Okay, so let's go back to the currencies. And there we are. And you can see there, the Swiss there, and you can see the Swiss. What we got here? Oh, let's see what they say here. At the United States Labor Statistics Bureau released the monthly U.S. Consumer Price Index, Core Consumer Price Index data, April. The CPI and Core CPI came in at 0.3% and 6% instead of the market 0.2 and 0.4. Yes, just a little firmer, but lower than last month, of course. And let's see what else we got going on there. And then, let's see. Thank you, Dukascopy. That was cool. I like it when that stuff comes up on the screen. And you can see here the green line is even trying to pierce back up again. I'm just waiting to see if this Swiss will actually go plus on us. What is the plus? The plus will be, let's see what the plus would be. It would have to get past 99.58.5. So, and it's at 99.40 now. I'm 39. You can see it on the Dukascopy screen there on J4X. Offers at 41. We need to get past 55. Is it or 58? What did I just say it was? 58. Yeah, 58. Okay. All right. From there, we'll jump over to the euro and see what the euro's up to this morning. And traders out there, you're welcome to ask any question. We'll stop and go right to the question and see what's going on. As you can see right here, euro's feeling a little pain there. You see the red. Let's check it out on the other screen and see what it's doing. Right there. Yep, heading down. There's pressure to it. And you can see we're still in that sell for the last 3 days. Let's put that line in there, like so. There we go. Oh no, I think that's supposed to be down. Let's put it down here. There we are. So the pressure's on the product. What else can we say about that? I guess, been in that weekly sell since kind of the beginning of February. So that overall trend keeps on pushing, but no doubt it's down just as much as everybody else. but somehow or another, it seems firm the way it's down. Now, I guess when you're the second largest economy in the world, and you have a floating currency like this, it's okay. I mean, it's going to ebb and flow. And so, the European Union is the second largest economy in the world with 21 trillion. And the currency is right there in our face, trading live, and that's kind of nice. Overall, you can see here that the pressure is on it, but it's just kind of vacillating between plus and minus very closely. The euro is just bouncing back and forth, not really pushing any real pressure on it. We are waiting to see the blue line, what we call the echo. That's the 5 out of super right here. Let's see if you can see that again. There it is. That's the echo. And we're waiting for this little blue dashed line to try to get up through the 0 line, and the green line get up through it also, and we're going to put a buy signal out on that thing. But so far, no go. It's just dragging us along. All right. From there, we'll check out cable. See what the cable's doing this morning. And let's put that on the screen. There's cable. Feeling the pressure, feeling the pain like everybody else. Right there. And that also is, no plus out of any of this action. We're not seeing any of it. It just keeps on finding ways to go sideways to down, pressure on, so forth and so on. And again, it's that inflation factor, really, I guess, more than anything else. And as long as that has given me an idea, something to say out loud. I mean, sometimes I don't say the things out loud, but we may see this all the way up until I'm going to do a comparison. I know this is a little, not iffy. It's factual. It's a factual comparison. The moment Mr. Biden was declared the winner in November of 2020, and his policies of what he wanted to do with energy and so forth was very clear. He had campaigned on it and said, this is what we're going to do. Gasoline in the United States and all the oil prices went up and have never looked back. Gasoline, a gallon, jumped about 11 cents when that happened, and that was at 2 something at that point, 230 something from 220 something, and has never looked back. And here we are now in the 450s, 460s. In the all the way up until, I guess you could say, even January of this year, we were looking at 350 a gallon, 360, 340 a gallon. So it had gone up, almost 50% since he had been elected. So I'm thinking that when we see the House of Representatives and the Senate go Republican, maybe then we'll start to see inflation offsets or interactions or things that people buy for inflation to recede. Maybe we'll see the currency. So we may have, this could be a sloppy, steady, firm dollar all the way until, say, September or October. And so in other words, it's sell in May and go away. So we're probably going to see all May, all June, all July, all of August. And then as September starts to creep in, we may start to see a little firming when the polls stay so strong for the Republicans. And in October, when it's very clear poll-wise that they're really doing really well, it'll still stay firm, but it may start to recede a little bit, anticipating, buy on rumor, sell on news type thing. And so we may have, what am I saying here? May, June, July, August, and September. We probably have a good 5.5 months of this. At least a good 5 months of this, which is going to be incredibly irritating for everybody who wants to trade this stuff. So we're going to keep an eye on this. And we may get, a dead cat bounce here or there. But overall, I don't know if we're going to... We've seen many a product. I'm going to stop myself. We've seen many a product go 20 weeks and 25 weeks in a trend. That's not odd at all. We saw the Turkish Lira go, what, 51 weeks or 52 weeks at one point? Went for a whole year in a weekly buy. We've seen things like that happen. That product, the dollar Turkish Lira went from 1 to 6 to 12 and all the way up to 18. At one point, getting into the up to the 12s, I think it was, it went 53 weeks in a buy. I remember us labeling it as a part of the webinar title. 53 weeks in a buy. Yeah. So over a year. So, I mean, for 5 more months or 4.5 more months, that would not be too much of a surprise. I'm sure we'll get a little vacillation in and out here or there. Some type of news will shake it a little bit into the positive side, but overall, that would not surprise me any. All right, from there we go to the Turkish Lira as we speak about it. Let's see what the dollar Turkish Lira looks like this morning. It's banging on the top end of the range. See that? Did that yesterday. Did that launch through the top end of the range. I guess we're going to have to go back and redefine the situation there, but I guess that's a currency. It's an inflation thing again. It's now up in here. So I guess we'll have to work on that, but I'm assuming that now the next, I guess you'd have to say that would be the range right there. We're looking at that close right there. I really think that this range in particular should hold. We've really fought to, that part of the range and keeps on lifting over it. Now let's go take a look at the Euro Turkish Lira. See how that looks to the same situation. Let's tighten that up. See, that stays inside its range, and that would force it to be basically somewhere around here. But we just don't see that. It seems to hang around inside its range now for all these months, since the new policy of marrying a option to the currency purchase in Turkey, which to me seems like an incredibly logical concept altogether. So I really adore that. I find that to be very smart. Oh, that's the wrong way to go. Let's try that. There we are. And then let's widen it out again so we can see it better. Let's move it down. And let's widen it out. And we've been in that daily buy here now since here. It's been lifting up. It's still flirting with the weekly. You can see it's a minus 0.5 there. Let's see how it looks over in J4X. Right there. A lot of green. It's been lifting up. A lot of pressure on the upside. Right with our signal right there. Right there. So they're matching up pretty well there. J4X and the Chicago Quant doing their jobs. Let's see, what else can we say about Turkish Lira? Just that big inflation number that came out, I guess it was last week. Then 70, they had said the Turkish inflation rate is at 70%. That probably opens the doorway for some more pressure on the product. But they're giving, like I said, they're marrying. When you go and buy Turkish Lira, they are giving you a put at the same time for free. So that's really helping it not to look like the mad animal that it has acted like for, I don't know, since it was trading at 1.5 and ran to 18 in the dollar, and then from 1.5 to 21 in the euro versus the Turkish Lira. I don't think it's going to be, I think this is just acting just like everybody else now. This is not like, in bad shape like it was before. All right, now, those bad articles from Bloomberg, they must hate somebody there. In other words, Bloomberg must hate Turkey on some level or another. Something like that's going on. It's probably too economically feasible. The idea to marry a put with the underlying product is probably like blasphemy for the Bloomberg people. It's too intelligent an idea to do. So Bloomberg has to attack it. And what I mean by that is, can you imagine you're given a put for free when you buy a foreign currency? Well, then what risk are you taking? Nothing. right? Because they're going to compensate you for any loss. So then you can go try to cherry pick in an environment that's very beat up. You got to imagine from all the inflation and so forth. You can go into that economy and see if you can find some good investments. You know, if inflation's at 7%, 70%, there's got to be something yielding 80%. You know, something's got to be surviving in there. So that's probably why Bloomberg dislikes it. All right, from the Turkish Lira, we slide over to the Canadian dollar. And there's a Canadian up on J4X. It still seems to be holding up on its firmness there. It's at the very top of the range. Let's see what we can do about doing a little spinny thing. Yeah, look at that. You know, it's breaking the top end of the range. It's held that range for over 2 years. And we are now sitting on it. Oh, no. In some ways, they are sitting on top of it like they did the Japanese range and the yen range. I'm sorry, Japanese yen range and the Swiss franc or the saltine range. And then next thing you know, it's on some type of rampage. So it's like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And you can see here, we did slide into a sell for a couple of days right there. And then it just rolled over again. And now we're going into buy off of this one right here. No, it was this one right there. And they're just sitting there on top of the range now. And we're in the weekly buy from over here. So it's not looking so comfortable at the moment. But it's all inflation. And I'm convinced now, especially with the action we saw this morning, it's all inflation in the end. That's what it really is. And so you can see here on J4X, the Canadian, you know, hanging out strong, lots of green. You know, it's just that's the action we see, and that's the action that's going to stay until this inflation number starts to curve the more realistic way. This month-to-month noise is always going to have, more than likely is going to have problems because the policies are just not conducive to reduce inflation at the moment. And I'm not talking about raising interest rates to the moon and force a recession and so forth. What it really comes down to now is just the government to stop spending all this money. I mean, they're just throwing money, and they've identified over $500 billion of it is gone. They can't even find it. $500 billion American dollars just gone. Oh man, what a wealthy nation we are, where we can lose. Remember the one time I was making the jokes about Mrs. Yellen when she was Fed chair, and one day she found $1.5 trillion more dollars than she realized was in the balance sheet. And I said, wow, did she go through the cushions in the sofa and just found that extra $1.5 trillion? Did it fall out of her pocket? You know, I mean, really. Only in America where you can misplace $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion or lose it, and no one seems to even pay attention. I mean, the dollar is not at the lows. It's at historical highs. So, obviously, and can you imagine? You can't make this stuff up, and you can't get anybody to take the position of world reserve currency, because nobody has even the closest opportunity for anybody to be a world reserve currency is the European Union. And they're not growing. You know, I mean, they're pretty much not growing, not count the fact that Russia's threatening them with nuclear weapons as we speak. So, I mean, we're it. We're the only game in town. And China doesn't even have a currency. So, I mean, how can you have a world reserve currency when you don't have a currency? So, I mean, between that and the euro being the second largest economy at 21 trillion, I mean, we're stuck with this position of being the world reserve currency. I mean, obviously we're stuck with it because some of the calamities that we do around here, you would think they would pull it away from us, but there is nobody to pull it away from us. And there's the dollar index I just threw up on J4X there. Look at that. It's zooming along at the all-time high area. I mean, look at that. Let's put a monthly chart up there. When's the last time they did anything like that? There's something. Made a charge towards that back in February of 2020 when the world was coming to an end. And so the V bottom, we caught that V bottom and the whole bit for everybody here. But yeah, that's about it. All right, now from there, let's see, where do we go from there? Let's take a look at. See, so we just looked at the Canadian. Normally, what we do is I'm going to throw the Canadian back up, and we're going to go over and take a look at gold and oil. And there's Canadian. See it being very firm there. And now let's go take a look at the oil. There's gold up there too. But let's just look at the oil real quick. Oil has rebounded from yesterday. You know, they put it underneath, closed at, where did it settle up yesterday? Closed at, the low was 98.86. We took out that low today at 98.20. Settled last night at 101.43 and has traded as high as 104.23. So $3 higher than where it settled. No, 43. So $2.80 higher. 280, yeah. 280. So almost $3 higher. And you know, it's still firm in there. We got a red and green going on. The daily, you can see our work right there. It's trying to lift back up, staying in the weekly buy. You know, it has no interest in moving out of it. Just seems to be pretty firm up in there. Probably a sideways gig for a while like that. You know, just like that. Look at that. Look how sideways that is. The more we squeeze it together, the more you can see it's just sideways. And that's the oil market. Now, usually Canadian goes down against the dollar. In other words, it gains against the dollar when oil is going up. But in this case here, it seems to be trapped in that same choppy situation. It's not letting go in either direction solely, again, because of the inflation factor. All right, from there, let's take a look at the gold. And there's the gold. And what we do is we go from the gold to the South African Rand. So let's put South African Rand up on J4X. Right there. And it's showing still a little firmness in there. And gold is going down, but they had it up, as we said, it was up about $16 today. And then when the inflation number came out, smasharoo. So gold goes down when inflation goes up. Oh yeah, this world is really functioning on a norm, isn't it? Don't you just want to scratch your head and just shake your head, like what in daylights is going on in this world? So with gold now at what's that, about 3-month lows, something like that. Not since February we've seen it down that low, right? 1850, 1830s, yeah. Not since February have we seen the 1830s. And let's slide over to the South African Rand, right there. And you can see it's trying to lift up, trying to go after yesterday's high and the day before's high. It's over the settlement prices of the last couple days. The daily's in a buy now for, what is that, 4 days or something like that. And the weekly's been in a buy since back in the 15s, 14 and changes area, back at the beginning of, or the middle of April. So we're seeing that pressure on the South African Rand up, and when that's up, usually gold goes down. And obviously at one point this morning, this was down here because people were paying attention to what I was paying attention to yesterday, and that was that the estimates were much lower in the CPI. And so I knew it was a short-term top, and that's why we labeled this particular webinar inflation, or yesterday's webinar, inflation, a short-term top. And that will probably last for another month. And then maybe from there it could get even uglier in July. So June might be the same way, maybe a little bit firmer, but nothing major, but enough to make everybody frustrated. And then July, it may just rip. I mean, we may go see the 10 number or something like that, or 9.5. Because right now the 3-month average is 10. Actually, the 3-month average I think is over 10. So that pressure will be brought to bear. I guess that's the best way to describe it. All right, from there, oh, how nice. And so, what we're really going to see now is that Let's see what that does. Does that do it? Yeah, it does. So from there, we'll go over to, let's see. Let me just go back, cancel that for the time being. All right, so from there, I was answering a text. I just saw that thing, Robin. Cool. From there, we'll go over to the currency that we don't name, the Russian Federation one. It just doesn't let go. Look at all those crazy greens, and it just doesn't want to let go. And you can see now we're getting into the weekly buy. Maybe it's going to start to move up. I don't know. This currency has locked itself to the dollar, so the strength in it is because of that. We're seeing strength in the currency that will not be named, because it's locked itself to gold and silver, which locks it to the dollar. From there, we go over to the yen. You can see the yen moving up. Let's put it up on the screen here. You see there, yen's been just pressing up and up and up, and it doesn't seem to want to, do anything but that. Seems like that pressure is constantly on, and it just refuses to, pretty much. Let's see, what's wrong with this thing? Let's just cancel that. And so, at this point in time, what we see is the yen. Let's see what the Swiss is doing. See if both of them have gone into the plus. They're just moving back up again. They're just not taking this. Nah. See, that still hasn't been able to break through that 85 thing, or 58.5. They're still keeping that a little minus, so that's all right. And that is the pressure that we're seeing. And so the yen, let's go back to it again. The yen is just hanging out at the top of the range of its own. This is a 20-plus year high now the yen is on. And it's been in a weekly buy since basically the beginning of March. And the yen does not seem to want to back away. This inflation has had an effect on all the currency pairs at this point. All right, from there we go over to the Mexican peso. Right there. Let's get the Mexican peso in there. There's it on J4X. You can see a couple days of the green. Line strong. Same thing here. You see that strength there in a weekly buy for 3 weeks. And we're moving back up again from the bottom end. Now this is holding the range really well. So the Mexican peso is outpacing a lot of the other products. So I guess the best thing you can basically say is that we're going to see, what are we going to see? We're going to see the action in the Mexican peso. Canadian it was Mexican peso and Canadian seemed to be holding up in the range. Now the Canadian is pushing a little bit firmer over the size of the top of the range. We'll see how that plays out. They're both in the North American continent. One's our southern neighbor, one's our northern neighbor. And so in some ways or another, you would assume that it's that classic concept of location, location, location. Their currencies seem to be doing better, but Canada right now is getting that squeeze. Did anybody see that dog bark in Ukraine? I guess Prime Minister Trudeau was in Ukraine about 4 days ago, and some cute little, a hunting dog. It hunts bombs and dynamite and all that, and it's I forget the name of the style. We had a couple of them around here. They like to hunt rabbits and all. And Trudeau walked over to shake the hand of the Prime Minister, and he started barking at him. It was kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, Trudeau's not doing that country any favors, that's for sure. All right, that's our completion of the currencies for the time being. And we're going to drift back over to the metals complex. Or we can do gold. Let's do the gold. Yeah, there's gold right there. So you can see gold trying to lift back up again. And let's see let's put it on J4X too. There it is. And so they're trying to move it back up again. It's been in the daily sell now for a long, long while, since right here. So that's I don't know. There's 4 days. There's 9 days. There's 14 days. 14, 3 is 17. It's 17 days in a sell now. And it's going on its 4th week in a sell. So that pressure from the 1950 area has, in this case here, it went into the weekly sell, or the daily sell, at 1959, almost 1960. And now we're at 1844. Hey, Jack Russell. No, it wasn't a Jack Russell. It was, we had a couple of them around here. I can't think of the name of it, but it drove me crazy because it thinks it's part of the family, and it, you know, we had one that lived outside, but then the kids made the new one, the puppy. They moved it in. I wanted it to live in the greenhouse, and they wanted it to live in the house. I was like, oh no. I'll figure it out. Maybe it's some type of terrier. I don't know. I don't think it's a Jack Russell though. Beagles. That's it. Is a beagle a terrier? It's a beagle. It was funny. He barked at Trudeau out of nowhere. Snapped at him. On stage in front of everybody. All right. I think they're giving the dog a medal or something. All right. So from there, let's take out the silver. There's silver. Silver did the same thing. It was up higher, then it fell back down again. And now it's trying to lift back up. But we're still in that sell from this thing, too, from the 26 area. And the weekly sell, too. This is the 5th week of that, also at the same time. We don't seem to be able to get the metal. You would think, when you look at the metals and everything, you would think like there's no inflation. What inflation? I don't see any inflation. But, you know what's curious? As much as we see it in other products, we're seeing it in one metal in particular, platinum. Platinum is trying to get up and go. I'll show you copper right here. There's copper. Copper is trying to lift up, and you can see right there. Still underneath by the hair. It's got a red and green going on. We're still in the weekly, too, from the 470s or something like that. 470-ish area. And we'll see what copper does, but that's driven itself almost down into the 12s or 13s. And then check this out. Here's platinum. Platinum led the market up last time, but I don't know if it can do it this time because of the inflation. But you see that right there. It is flirting. We should put the little circly thing in. It is flirting strongly. I said that yesterday and the day before. Guys, this is the game to play right now. If Ducascopy had platinum, we would be giving a written recommendation for it. Look at this thing. Try to take off. You know, I think I was saying probably see the 1,000 again. You know, yesterday. Now they've thrown a red. Let me just give it a refresh, but now it's doing a negative thing there. Did I do it right or wrong? Here's the 11. Let me just go take a look on the other machine. Just double check it. I'm going to go to the exchange itself and check the numbers. Yeah, it's a beagle. Beagle. Our beagle drove me crazy. Cute dog. Loved you, but I mean, it was just always needy. It was like having another child. It's like I had 3. I don't need 4. All right, platinum. Here we go. Jan platinum. I'm sorry, July platinum. That's what it is. July platinum. Yeah, see that's wrong. That needs to be fixed. This one right here. That's totally wrong. We'll have to fix that. But that went into the buy. I can see the numbers. And so, yeah, this is marching along. I think it went into the daily buy yesterday. We'll have to clean this up after the webinar and get that straightened out. There we go. So now, from there, over there, over there. So from there, we jump over to the energy sector. So there's crude oil here. You can see, we've talked about that, how it's trying to lift up. And let's put it up on J4X. We'll put up Brent up there because we can already see that. You see the red for the last couple of days. Let's see what it shows for the West Texas Intermediate. Still red. Okay. You can see ours we're still in the red too. It's just that it's trying to bounce on our work right now. Also, we're in the weekly buy right there, so I don't expect a lot of weakness out of it. I think it's going to be stuck around the $100 range for a while now, for months. And then from there, let's go over and take a look at nat gas. There's the U.S. nat gas. You see that pressure that's been on it for the last couple of days after it drifted up to the eights. And there it is right there. Oh yeah, it's trying to lift today after going into the sell here. But again, we've been in that long weekly buy for a while. And this thing's not even remotely making any push to the negative side. Medal of Honor. It barked at Trudeau. I thought that was funny. He jumped back. What kind of fighter was he? So now from there, let's take a look at a couple of other energies. Let's take a look at European nat gas. Let's see if it's still in the 27s. Right there. 27.65. Still a little bit more down than yesterday. That's good. That's a good thing. And let's look at the gas oil for the automobiles. There's a couple days of pressure there. Following the crack spread. And then let's look at the diesel side of it. Right there. Trying to lift up more again. Trying to get towards the buy. We got a red and a green going on there. So that is the energy sector. And then, let's see. From there, where do we go from there? Oh, yes, let's take a look at, since we looked at the metals and so forth, we should go over to Bitcoin. I had that conversation, and I already got the title of this webinar in my head in some ways, the bench test. And, a bench test of inflation and calamity for Forex. Let's see. There it is right there. Oh, they're knocking the Bitcoin down again. Okay, it was trying to turn up. Now it's broken underneath again. Okay, they had it up at one point up to around, 32,120. Now it's at 29,332. Boy, you want to look at something really ugly? I bet it's trading live right now, too. Check this out. Oh, my God. It's the coin ETF. Coin exchange. So it's the stock symbol is COIN. Look, they were punishing this thing this morning. Look at this. That's live. That came down from yesterday. It settled at 72.99. It is now trading at 54. Now look at this product. This product, when it came out last year, traded as high as 300 and change. 330. There's $355 right there. I think it even had a crazy spike of 400 at one point or another. Let me see if we can find that. I don't see it. But can you imagine? It's trading at $54. I mean, it looks like Deutsche Bank and Citibank and all these other companies that went bankrupt. I mean, it's getting smacked. I mean, 355. It's lost $300 from its highs. And I'm almost dead sure the day that went IPO, I saw it up in the fours, low fours. They received, here you go, Coinbase, yeah. Yano says they revealed that they could go bankrupt and cheat their clients. Well, that's not a good thing. That's bad. Oh my God, why did they let these things become on the... I thought it's one thing for it to go to like 30 or 40, but to go bankrupt? I mean, this is like this reminds me of 2000, the internet bubble. The way it's all falling apart in there. It could take a while to get rolling again. Now, remember, we've got Fed puts nowadays compared to the old days where we had just, we didn't have Fed puts. Now we have Fed puts. But that's what's going on. Okay. Yeah, we've been in a weekly sell on that. Robin and I follow that. Wonder what Kathy Wood's thing's looking like. We'll have to tune that in too this morning. We've been in the weekly sell now since the 170s area, 180s area. We've been in the daily sell. We went into the daily sell right. What was that? Right there at 189, and then it stayed in the daily sell all the way to what is that? To 121. Went into a daily buy for a couple of days, and then we went right back into the sell again. So it's been 2 trades. That's it. 2 trades on the. You can only take the short side because we're in a weekly sell. So it's 2 trades. That's it. And they've both been winner chicken dinners. Now let's check out Kathy Wood's thing. Oh, baby. That's why I've been sending you a few extra ones, Robin. This thing looks like it's going to try to bang into the 2s. Wow, they've really taken that one on the chin, haven't they? Isn't that amazing? All right. What do we do from here? All right, from here, and so basically we were looking at the, the cryptos, and wow. As I was saying, Janos, I was talking with Wilco, and I said to him, this is the best bench test of the blockchain and cryptocurrency ever seen. You've got the largest nation in Europe under attack, being bombed. You've got the second largest nuclear arsenal threatening to nuke the world. And all we can do is watch gold go down and the blockchain go down. So what's that all about? And that's... They don't recognize inflation. They don't recognize place to go hide. In other words, last resort, place to hide, place to safety. They all run to the Yankee dollar. And, we're banging away at all-time highs. And me, Janos, I'm not a fan of the dollar. I keep on saying, it's too strong. It doesn't belong here. And... Europe, the second largest economy in the world, 21 trillion. It can't step up and help out much. And then, you got Japan, the third largest economy in the world, getting pounced on hard. And I don't even know what you call China. As far as I'm concerned, China is like some type of irate colony of the United States. That's what it seems like. We send them tons and tons of money, and they don't seem to be able to straighten their act out. If all the money we've sent them, if we would send Europe $300 and $400 billion a year in business, you think they could get their act together? I bet they could. I don't understand what the Chinese malfunction's all about. They don't even have a currency. That's the worst part. With all that money we sent there, they don't even have a currency. They got some odd thing that they declare as a currency. It doesn't float. It trades 2.5% of the world market every day. It's like, I just don't get it. Where's reality in this trading world? Anyhow, let's get rid of this. Let's close the coin thing. Close. There we are. Let's check out the stock indices before we get out of here. This could be fun. Bankrupt. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that one. Okay. And let's put it up on the old screen-o-roo over here. There is the S&P 500. And you can see most of this red that's been on J4X for a while. It just keeps on finding ways to go down. And let's see. Let's put it up over here. There it is right there. Just kind of quiet, really. I mean, we were up almost 300 and some odd points, so it was very firm this morning. Now we're just kind of dead. Was down 200 points. Now it's only down. Where's it at now? Let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to close that. And then let's close this. And let's get to the fun. Oop, here it comes. Let's go to the intraday. Wow. Well, you can see there the S&Ps are down about 11 points, 12 points, 13 points. You can see the math has been doing a good job. Went into the buy right there. Held on. Oh, no, it pushed it into a sell. A whipsaw. And then back into the buy again, and it's rode that whole pony up. When we went into the sell there, it went sloppy sideways down for a while until the next buy right there, and we lifted up again. And now we are flirting. We got one sell there, so let's see how much it goes down. And let's see, it could be a mild one. We'll see. And then let's get back over to here. There's the S&P, kind of quiet. So they're not really rocking this world that much. It's just kind of quiet. They got nowhere else to go. You think that? Oh, let's see what Yana says. So 55% of companies that IPO above EPS above 20 are delisted, bankrupt in 10 years. Ooh, that's an interesting stat. Ouch. However, the fun part was the 6%, which are delisted by the next year. I love it, Yana. Good numbers. Coinbase could be it. Wow, you're right. Oh, my God. Well, Kathy Wood's got to be going out the door, too. I mean, you know, it's so easy to be a long in a bull market and look like you're smart. But once this market turns, you know, forget it. Yeah, they are hype. They are stories, you know. And I like blockchain. I believe in blockchain. You know, it's a good technology, but, you know, I follow the quants. The quants are where it's at. You know, I got to follow the math. It really looks like the 2000 tech bubble. It really has that look to it, and you know, it's been looking that way to me for a long while. So it doesn't really surprise me any. It's just that, you know, I had my nephew. He was giving me grief over it about 6-7 months ago. He says, "You won't buy it." I says, "I own some." He says, "Yeah, but you won't buy it." I said, "Yeah, but I sell it when I sell calls or I buy puts against it. You know, I don't." Oh, no, you got to be just buying it. Well, good. That was when I think Bitcoin was like 55,000. He hasn't bugged me about it since. Now that Bitcoin is trading in the 23s or 29s or something like that. Hey, 54, figures at not bad to collapse stocks. The Fed I caused of all this. They get very loose with money, print it and throw it away. Now that they threaten to tighten and bankrupt companies, scares traders. Yeah, it's a combination of all that. I think you basically laid out a good slice of it all. There's no doubt about that. They're not going to raise the rates that much, but yep, there are margin calls. When you say raise rates, that's going to squeeze these margin traders who just know up markets, you know, where they just buy. You're right. So that is so true, 54, in many different ways. I think we got 3 or 4 months of this stuff going on. I'm sure we'll see a bounce or two. It'll be something that'll be entertaining. But overall, we follow the math around here, traders, and that's why you're supposed to tune in and watch. This is Doc from North America, and we will catch you all on Thursday. That's tomorrow. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. To all our Dukascopy trading friends. Later, traders.